It's the Fish Bag Podcast. Fish bag time at Christmas time. Welcome, everybody, back to the Fish Bag Podcast. And we're getting close to Christmas, which means there's less time every day. If you know someone who wants to sign up for our Follow Me internship program coming up in February, come on out, join along with us, walk alongside us, learn some practical stuff, get closer to Jesus. There's pretty much any area that you associate with Barcelona, you might be able to experience with us if that's what you're interested in. But yeah, today, obviously, we're getting close to Christmas. And so it's on my mind because we're doing lots of Christmas thinking, Christmas shopping, Christmas getting into, stuff, Christmas parties. You know what happens at Christmas time. Out here in Barcelona, there's no snow on the ground. So if you're from North America, especially in the north part of North America, you probably feel you get the snow, you get the fall, you get the leaves. It rained here yesterday and a lot of leaves fell on the ground and it smelled like fall because we don't have much of a fall season where the leaves all change color or all that type of stuff like it does back in Canada where I'm from. But I just want to say I've never told anybody this. This isn't really special news, but no, if you think about the world and especially living in the city and things falling apart and it could be the end of the world at different times, the leaves hitting the ground gives me so much hope because I know that the leaves, man, there's a lot of Barcelona is good because they've planted a lot of trees in the streets and things like that. And when all the trees drop all their leaves and they fall to the ground, I know that could be used to build soil, high quality soil and fertilizer from like a permaculture perspective. And so I always have hope for life when I see the leaves falling on the ground. Of course, here, every single day, there's people who sweep the streets and clean the leaves away. And if it's a holiday, then you see the leaves pile up really fast because there's nobody to clean the leaves and take them away. And in a similar way, it just gets me thinking, has nothing to do with the podcast, but it gets me thinking about the end of the world. And those people will not be doing that job if everything collapses and falls apart, right? Those people sweeping the streets are probably not going to keep sweeping the streets. They're going to be preoccupied with other stuff, which means the leaves that fall from the trees are going to pile up and everything will become covered in piles, like really big piles of leaves, which will eventually turn into dirt. And then that dirt will pile up and the streets will disappear in a sense. They will become a lot thinner, a lot quicker. And you, if you needed to, could collect those leaves for good soil in order to be able to grow stuff. And for some reason, that gives me hope. Maybe like the hope of Christmas that Jesus came for us, right? And you might be expecting from me to be a bit of a Scrooge or to be talking about Christmas is a pagan holiday and all that type of stuff, which is maybe more and more popular now. I think with maybe it's just my algorithm, right? It seems like everyone's questioning the validity of Christmas and things like that. Wes Huff, if you are familiar with Wes Huff, you should look Wes Huff up on YouTube or Shorts or Instagram or whatever. He's a really great biblical scholar who's gotten a lot of recognition lately because of getting to be on Joe Rogan. But Wes Huff explained the other day how the original church fathers in the first 300 years, like post Jesus, didn't believe in celebrating Christmas. There was argument against, they didn't have to call it Christmas, obviously, but against like celebration or worship of Jesus's birth, because that was a pagan practice, I guess. And then later with Constantine, it became more normalized. And there's tons of messy stuff about it, about how it was used as a weird kind of evangelistic methodology to replace different pagan forms of worship, right? You've heard about all the different ones if you care about that type of stuff. And it's funny that I'm talking about it all just to say, that's not what I'm not going to talk about that. I love having those conversations with people if you want to talk to me about it. But I believe that at the end of the day, we should just be glorifying Jesus every single day of the week and thankful for his birth all the time. But if in this season, everyone is going to try at least to put a little bit of extra emphasis on Jesus and family in a way that is good and full of tradition. Here we go. This is how we're going to segue into what I want to talk about today. If you got good traditions, if your family's closer together, if it's bringing unity, if you're hopefully being generous and not greedy, which it's a battle. It's a battle against greed and envy and those spirits in this season. I'll tell you what. But Christmas is okay. It's okay. Anyways, since we're out here in Barcelona, and I know a lot of our audience is here and they're quite familiar with the character next to me, if you're watching the video, there's this guy called Caga Tió. And coming from the West, we have a lot of traditions in our Western American style, American Canadian style culture. And I mean, I don't know if it's like ethnocentric of us to think that the rest of the world has the same traditions, or to think that like other Christian places and countries have the same traditions and stories. But the truth is that they're very diverse and different almost everywhere you go. Every country that I've been to has very different traditions around how they do Christmas. Again, the way they do different things, and the way they express it and remember it and think about it, or they don't think about it at all. Like all my years I was in China, it was just popularized with, actually, I'll tell a little bit about China. China's funny because it's very, very commercialized, because what they've adopted and seen and then are implementing feels like it was all just based off television, right? Like what they've seen on television based around Christmas. So it's a lot of Santa and a lot of stuff like that. But what's funny is that also just in the absolute like kind of like random surface level adoption of the holiday kind of to make money, and because all the big stores and big chains especially at Christmas time will they turn everything into Christmas themed. I guess for marketing purposes, right? But it's funny because in the market, like Jesus will get incorporated into it, or worship music or classic Christmas playlists will be played like in the stores. And I don't think anybody, for probably 99% of the people, have any idea even exactly what they're doing or what they're playing or what's being said or what the real significance is of even many of the pictures that they hang up. But in a crazy way, like Jesus is being represented. You'll walk into stores and they'll be playing like the classic Jesus-based Christmas music because they just picked a random playlist and that's what happened. I've even been into stores where there's like worship music playing or classic Christian praise music, and nobody knows, like nobody has any idea why that is, or even probably understands it because it's in English. But there's this funny thing that the tradition and then the pop cultureness of it still has it transfers organically into a closed country that doesn't necessarily believe in that, and even makes certain expressions of it illegal, right? So popular culture in a weird way through the marketplace is able to transcend certain barriers. And then there's someone, then there might be a foreigner or a Westerner or somebody who understands what it's all about and is able to make the connection and help explain it to people. So that's a funny thing. But back to the topic at hand is that, so here in Barcelona is in the region of Catalonia. And so the Catalonian traditions are very important here. And one that you would be surprised to experience if you were here with us out here in Barcelona is the Caga Tió, or the Tío de Nadal, which means he's a poop log, but he's a log with a face on it, and he wears a red hat, which is a Catalonian style hat, and his job is to poop out presents. But I mean, the caga part means poop, which is pretty awesome. And he's one of the raddest traditions around here around Christmas time. We haven't like fully implemented it in our house because we're not organized enough to stay on top of it. And so it's a little weird for me. But basically, you have this little, as far as I know from what my friends have told me and what I've looked into a bit, you got this log and he starts off, either you can just have a general log with the face, like one of them, and on, there's a specific day, I think it's like Christmas Eve, you sing a song and you hit him with sticks and then he poops out presents and the kids get the presents or whatever. Eve just did an event. We were just at an event at the kids' school and they had a giant one and they sang the song and everything, and he pooped out different presents for all the kids. But another way that it works is it starts off at the beginning of the season, I guess around the 8th, which is the day of the Immaculate Conception. And there's a little one, in your house somewhere. And then every night the kids leave it some food and then the parents switch it and make it a little bigger and bigger and bigger. And it grows and grows and grows until the final time when you harvest the presents from his butt. And there's a song that they sing. I don't think this is the full song, but it kind of goes, you could look it up, but it goes, poop log, poop to run, hazelnuts and fresh cheese. If you don't poop, we'll hit you with a stick. That's the song they sing. People hit it and comes out. So technically, people think that this tradition came from winter solstice, like pre-Christian winter solstice traditions. But I've been kind of like going back and forth with ChatGPT on this because I'm like, wait. Like, there's Christian tradition has been like around a really long time in Spain. So that means like technically this tradition or the legends should be going back even farther. And I haven't quite gotten to the bottom of exactly when it came in, but it's definitely been around for a few hundred years. And there's a legend, I think, that a guy, like the original legend of it is that there was someone who was like cold and lost or something. And then there was a log that like magically spoke to him and turned into fire. Man, I could be spreading false news right now, to warm him and heat him up. And that's where the legend started back in the day. But it's been a fun tradition out here. And there's a bit of cheekiness to it, I guess. Another tradition that I don't have in the picture here is the Caga, which again also has to do with poop. And what they would do is, and what they do, you can find stalls if you go to the Christmas market here that sell tons and tons of these figurines, because now they got figurines for every different pop culture icon symbol that you want. But it's basically a figurine of a guy or a girl pooping also. And they would sneak them into the nativity scenes. And I guess the purpose behind it is to bring a little bit of humor and a little bit of, what's it called? Like, I can't remember the word now. Let's see if I have it written here to help me. I mean, equality, right? Like where you bring everyone down to earth a little bit, because even the highest politicians who might be trying to oppress you, or, like superstars or whatever, everyone has to defecate. So it brings everyone back down to the same level. And I guess there's something about it having to do with the fertilization of the earth as well. But if you're out here in Catalonia and you're in Barcelona and you're going to the Christmas market, you'll see stands that have these little characters that could be anyone. I saw some of the Simpsons. There's obviously the politicians that they want to make fun of, big celebrities, all that different type of stuff. Anyone that you want to bring that you either, I guess, want to make fun of, or someone that you feel like needs to be brought down to earth a bit in this season, you get a figurine of them taking a poo, and then you can stick them there in the nativity scene and hide them in there. And I don't know if the purpose of that originally was maybe a little bit anti-Catholic, because the nativity scene has been a really big thing here for hundreds of years. But if you think about it, even the biggest and wisest or most influential people in the world, they also need Jesus, and they should be worshiping Jesus as well. So it's good. I think it's good to remember. It's a cool little thing. We also don't have any of those guys in our house yet, but eventually maybe we will. Yeah, just for anyone. I don't know. This, what else do we have for traditions that me and my family are doing? We bought a real Christmas tree this year, which is our first one since being in Spain for 5 years. Obviously, that's another thing. Like back in Canada, we have a lot of space. We have a lot of trees, unless you don't like the mess of a big, fancy Christmas tree at Christmas time. Most people get, and if you believe in doing Christmas stuff, we get big natural trees and we have a lot of space. Here in Barcelona, we have tiny little apartments. And so getting a real Christmas tree in your apartment isn't the most practical thing. And so in the previous years, we've just had a little fake tree. But this year, for some reason, my wife, Eve, was really motivated and we went to the Christmas market, which generally was a terrible experience. Not because the market itself is terrible, but because we had 4 kids with us. And well, we went there on our bicycles, and our youngest just was getting into lots of trouble in a very nice way, but not fun to pull through a giant crowd of people, and then having to go haggle over Christmas trees. But in the end, we got ourselves a real life Christmas tree. And something different here than what we do back in Canada, example, is it comes in actual like a pot, like it comes in the dirt. So I don't know what we're supposed to do with it, if we're supposed to replant it afterwards. I see a lot that just get thrown in the street that are brown and dead, but it's in a pot of dirt. So I don't know, maybe they can go back in the ground or whatever. We water it in our house. But our tree is really short and fat. Like it's probably in total 4 feet high, but it's like 3 feet wide. So it's taking up a good section of our apartment, our tiny little space in our apartment, but it's a real tree. It doesn't smell as good as classic tree. I feel like it's not making our house smell like a Christmas tree. So I don't know. I don't even know what type of tree it is, you know? Back home, we get a blue spruce or a Douglas fir or whatever. You have all these different kinds. I'm so bad at that stuff, but we have a real life Christmas tree here that is in a pot. That's in a pot of dirt, and I've been talking nice to it, telling it it can still live if it wants to. And the kids hung up a ton of the decorations on it, and for some reason, I don't know why we did this, but we bought a box of glass bulbs, like to hang on the tree, like this one in the picture. Back in the day, maybe from IKEA a few years ago, when we bought a set, to decorate our tree. And it's such a dumb idea because our floors are always tile in the apartments, so it's hard. And then the kids are constantly knocking bulbs off the tree. James, my youngest, loves throwing balls. Out of all our kids, he's the one who likes playing with balls and throwing balls the most. And he just thinks that they're balls, and he keeps taking them off the tree and just winging them, and then they smash on the floor. So we've been cleaning up a lot of balls. I imagine we'll only have half of them left by the end of Christmas, which is kind of nice. Well, I think we should invest in some plastic ones in the future. So we have a natural Christmas tree, glass balls, which are smashing because the kids are throwing them around, and maybe something, traditionally in the old days, back in Canada, when you're close to your family, you save all your presents for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, depending on what you do. My wife's German, and I also grew up German, so we would do a Christmas Eve thing most of the time. But out here, being an expat, and maybe those of you, if any of the expats who listen to the show are still listening, right? What are you guys doing? Because a lot of if you're getting gifts from back home and people are sending packages, it's always different, like negotiating how you're going to do presents with your kids. Are you going to save everything till the last minute, or are you getting money to go spend with them? We go to our tradition, I guess this could be a tradition, is to go to the Lego store every year. But if the grandparents send a bunch of money for the kids, we're like, all right, here's your allotted amount. We're going to go to the Lego store. And then the kids all, spend all their money at the Lego store or something like that. But obviously we do that before Christmas Eve. And then the kids know what their presents are already. My wife tends to use her like Christmas gift as a negotiating. She's like, oh, well, I'll just get what I want right now, even like a month in advance. And then she'll just say, oh, that's just my Christmas gift. So I don't know. It's a lot more sporadic and messy than it is being an expat. I feel like, I don't know, like how the locals are able to do it is probably like much more fixed. And they also save a bunch of gifts for the kids for the Three Kings, the Feast of the Three Kings. It's in, they wait a little bit until January. But being expats, it's a totally different thing. We also, because it's just our family, we try to invite a couple people over to our house for Christmas Eve and just hang out with them because, you know, back home in Canada, we would usually go and spend the time with like a whole pile of family all at once in the evening and then the next day and stuff like that. But here, you just gotta invite a couple friends because you don't have family. And that's something that I've been used to because I've been doing that already for 20 years. But if you're wondering what a big difference is between our Christmas and your Christmas back home, it might be something like that because we just don't have family around for it. I don't know. I hope you're enjoying. Hope you're enjoying this episode so far. If you're wondering, if you're watching the video and you're wondering why there's presents in a car on fire in the background, it's because the AI prompt that I use is still based on the fish by to keep with the fish bag theme, and it always adds flames in. It's not because I'm necessarily 100% against presents and gifts. All right, this is going downhill. We just want to say Merry Christmas. We love you. Thank you so much to Jesus for coming for us. And despite what everybody says, all the naysayers about whether we should or shouldn't do Christmas, you're allowed to do Christmas all year round. You can be thankful that Jesus came and was born to die for your sins any time of year. And you can also give people gifts any time of year. But if you choose to do it around this season, that's okay too, I think. Anyways, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again in the new year. Keep it real. Bye.